Hey, so today I'm pulling the Moen 1222 cartridge out. It needs to be changed. It's about 20 years old, so sometimes they'll come right out, and sometimes they'll fight you the whole way through. This one did not come right out, so you'll see coming up. It was not fun. So here is where I realized that this cartridge is not going to pull out easily. So you tighten that little nut up on the puller, and it's supposed to pull the cartridge out a little bit so you can twist it and then it'll pull out. I tightened the nut up all the way. It wasn't coming out of there. So here I'm breaking the little tabs off on the top and bottom of the cartridge so when I tighten that nut up, it doesn't hit on those little tabs, so I can tighten it up farther to try and get the cartridge to pull out farther. It worked a little bit. It got pulled out a little bit farther, but not enough to get it out of the valve body. So I put the channel locks on it to try and get some more leverage to see if I could get it to twist. It's turning a little bit, but not nearly enough to come out. See, it has little rubber gaskets on the side of that cartridge that after some time they get like stuck to the brass inside, and they do not want to come out. And this is what happened. The pressure balancing spool pulled out of the inside of it, the plastic cracked around it, and now all that you can do is just dig it out piece by piece. You got to try and get to those little rubber gaskets on the sides. Once you pull those out, the rest of it comes out pretty easily, but you have to break all this plastic out before you can get to those little rubber pieces. So that's what I'm doing here. That's what I'll be doing for a while. This valve body, this cartridge change, it took a while. Normally it takes about 10 minutes if it comes in and out. It took about an hour. So don't get discouraged. It's also important when you're doing this to try and not like gouge or scratch the inside of the brass real bad, because then the cartridge won't seal up and it'll leak. So just be as careful as you can. So here I'm pulling out one of those little rubber gaskets right there. It came out in one piece, luckily. That side did anyway. The other side came out in pieces. And a lot of times they'll get shoved back up inside where the water lines come in. On the right and left side of the valve, they'll get shoved back. There's like a little port back in there for the water to come through, and those little rubber gaskets will get pushed back inside of there. So if that happens, you have to turn the water on and try and spray them out. So here is the rest of the cartridge. All that's left was that little ring with the O-ring on it. That was way in the back. Now it's important to get all these little pieces of plastic out of there. If there's any left in there, you can turn the water on. It'll spray them out. And that was the little rubber piece. I'm just making sure it's all there. Just putting all the little pieces together to make sure they're all there. Make sure there's none shoved back inside the water line. And then I'm just digging, trying to get the rest of the little pieces of plastic out. And then you just put the cartridge back in and turn the water on. But that's not what happened to me. So here I'm just using a wire brush and some emery cloth to try and clean up some of the corrosion and the hard water buildup that's inside there. Just try and get the cartridge to go back in smoother. It didn't work. I had to do this probably 3 times to get it to get the cartridge back in there. I'm gonna get some silicone grease and put it on the rubber pieces in the back of the cartridge to help it slide in there, and maybe next time not be so hard to get out. The 1222 cartridge in that little packet, it does come, Moen gives you some like grease, but it's real thin. It's like a real thin viscosity, so it's kind of runny, but I like to use the stuff I had in the little tube. It's a little thicker, it sticks to everything a little better. I'm trying to get the cartridge to go in there, but it did not want to go in, so I had to clean it a bunch more times to use the emery cloth to clean some of the lime buildup out of there. I'm still trying to get the cartridge to go in there. That little white thing is supposed to help you get the old cartridge out. I use it to kind of line up the new one, but it doesn't want to go into the valve, so I have to clean it some more. I don't show all that, but I had to clean it a lot to try and get the hard water buildup out to get the cartridge to go back in the valve body. So now I'm finally getting it to go in there. Put the channel locks on it to get some movement out of it. Got it to fit back in there. I'm just using a little plastic tool to line it up. So So there's a little notch on the front of the cartridge. The notch goes on the bottom. That would mean that the water is shut off. Because a lot of times, if you don't twist it around like that, when you go in to turn the water back on, it'll just start running out of the tub spout. So I always turn it to the off position. So you want the little notch on the bottom so the water will be off. And now I'm just putting the clip in and I'm gonna turn the water back on. I got the water back on. I'm going to test it and nothing comes out. So I have to pull it back out again. So what happened was there's still a little piece of rubber in there blocking the water coming in on the hot side. So on a pressure balancing valve, you have to have water pressure on both sides for the valve to work. But eventually it got it to work, got the water back on, everything was working fine. Now I'm just putting it all back together. Hopefully it's not this bad for you if you're trying to do it. But please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.